Hello, Gamescom. I'm Dan. In June, the legendary Nürburgring made its next-gen debut free in Forza Motorsport 5. In the 2 months since it released, fans have driven more than 46 million miles. That's nearly 60,000 laps per day. Now at Forza, our goal is to deliver extraordinary car experiences that you just can't get anywhere else. Today, I'm proud to announce that 2 wildly unique cars are making their gaming world debut. The all-electric Formula E Renault Spark ushers in an exciting new era in open-wheel racing. Starting today, players can compete in a special Formula E Hot Lap event on Xbox Live for a chance to win VIP access to next year's race here in Germany. And for the first time in video game history, Rolls-Royce Motor Cars has officially arrived, exclusively in Forza. Wraith is the most powerful Rolls-Royce ever made. In Forza Vista, you can experience Wraith's unparalleled craftsmanship. The Formula E and the Rolls-Royce Wraith, along with 4 additional cars, including the all-new 2015 Ford Mustang, are available today for all Forza Motorsport 5 players for free. Thank you. Now, for more on Forza Horizon 2, here's Ralph Fulton from Playground Games.
Thanks, Dan. Forza Horizon 2 is a game of spectacular beauty, with breathtaking coastal drives, epic thunderstorms, rolling European landscapes, and exquisite sunsets, all rendered in stunning 1080p. It's a game full of action-packed fun, in which you're always building huge scores with our kudos-like skill system, whether you're crashing through forests or drifting through city streets. And it's a game in which freedom underpins everything you do. Horizon 2's massive list of more than 200 cars, its sprawling open world, and its epic variety of events are all yours to explore. But we believe that the fun, beauty, and freedom of Horizon 2 are best when you enjoy them with your friends. Drive at our opponents in your open world, 1,000 player clubs with shared progression, instant multiplayer with no lobbies and no waiting, online car meets, team racing, co-op challenges, all on dedicated servers. It's features like these which make Forza Horizon 2 the most social racing game ever made. Let's take a look.
Car culture and festival culture are both inherently social. Forza Horizon 2 is inherently social. So we ensure that everyone's game feels connected, even when you're not playing multiplayer. There are lots of ways to see what your friends are doing. Even in solo play, your friends are always connected to your world. Your friends' drive avatars explore the open world with you, even when they aren't online. You can challenge them to street races or follow them to hidden secrets in the world. Rivals challenges and speed cameras allow you to compete with your friends asynchronously, and at any point you can pull up the map and see where your friends are online and what they're doing. When you decide to jump into online play, we ensure that transition is instant and seamless. And by removing lobbies, the waiting and all the hoops you have to jump through, players who don't usually play online will find it really easy, entertaining and friendly.
Community is massively important to Forza, and with clubs of up to 1,000 players, you could create your own community within Horizon 2. What that club is for, though, is entirely up to you. It could be a private club for you and your close friends. You could use it to compete on the game's global club leaderboards. We've given you the tools to create or find the perfect club for you.
We've got car meets, which is a great place to go and socialise, chat, and show off your liveries or your tunes. If you're a really talented painter, you can enter a car meet and show off your latest design. Anyone else that's in there can take a look and at the touch of a button, download your design for their own car.
King and Infected were two really popular online game modes from the original Horizon. In Forza Horizon 2, we decided to build the perfect arenas from the ground up. Each one of these arenas is designed with jumps and smashable items everywhere, taking full advantage of the open world.
We have two main ways to play online. In Online Road Trip, we'll take you on a tour of the world from destination to destination, and then everyone in the session will vote on where the road trip goes next. In Online Free Roam, it's entirely up to you what you do. You and the people in your session can do whatever you like. Start races, play co-op challenges, hunt for secrets and collectibles together, or just cruise around. There are no rules. The world and everything in it are yours to explore together.
This is an incredibly social game. In every sense, we've reimagined what a truly next-gen online experience should be. You can play it however you want, do whatever you want. We'd like Horizon 2 to be a game that you play with friends, but maybe even a game in which you can make new friends.
All right, Graham, you've got some new stuff going on right over there with Forza, is that right?
That is right, Larry. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Dennis, as well. Dennis didn't die once in that whole level. That is some mad skills. Well done, Dennis. Well done. All right, I am here with Ralph Fulton. He is the creative director from Playground Games, and we're going to talk about Forza Horizon 2. How are you, Ralph?
I'm great, how are you?
I am good. Congratulations on a great show in there, in the briefing.
Thank you.
Looks absolutely incredible. I have to try not to be too sycophantic here because you know I'm a massive Horizon fan. Let's take a step back first of all, right? When you came out the back of Forza Horizon 1, what were the first things on the list for you that you wanted to address?
That's a great question. I mean, I guess the first thing we knew was that the next one was going to be on Xbox One, an entirely new platform, more power, better graphics architecture. So that was a whole world of opportunity which opened up for us. Allowed us to be really creative with our thinking around visuals, around Horizon beauty, around making this game more social, more connected. But one of the things that we really wanted to concentrate on with this game was to create a truly open world. Yeah. You know, make sure that there were no barriers, no walls where they don't exist in real life, and really give the player the opportunity to drive wherever he wants, to go, explore, discover whatever he wants.
All right, magic. And it shocked me when I heard that Forza Horizon took 18 months to develop. I mean, that seems like a bit of a superhuman effort. You know, have you been able to relax into Horizon 2 a little bit more?
There's been no relaxing, I could absolutely tell you that. Yeah, I mean, I think Horizon is an achievement that I'm personally incredibly proud of. I'm incredibly proud of the team. But I feel like we've gone on from strength to strength. I think we've really got into our stride with Xbox One now. We're really getting a hang of that as a platform. And I think the visuals and the gameplay really tell that story in Horizon 2.
Magic. All right, so let's have a look. You know, we've got this is the Gamescom demo.
That's
Horizon
right, on the show floor,
running
playable
right here.
for everyone here.
Fantastic. So this is the demo that everyone coming to Gamescom will be able to play on the Xbox booth. Talk us through a little bit about what we're seeing here and some of the things we should be looking out for.
Absolutely. So we're on an awesome street race from the festival, which is now located in the south of Tuscany in northern Italy. It's one of the two countries we feature in Horizon 2. And Andy is driving the Lamborghini Huracan, I believe it's pronounced, which is our hero car, our cover car. He's driving down to the coast. And as you can see, he's on road, but he's also going cross country as well, because that's part of that Horizon freedom that we're trying to create everywhere in the world.
So Horizon has come to Europe, which I think is great news. You can see why. I mean, these roads are incredible. You've got a mix of kind of fields and vineyards, and we'll see some cliff roads in the later in the demo as well. What kind of choices did you make? Why did you settle in northern Italy and the south of France?
Well, you know, both the south of France and the north of Italy were individual locations we considered for the first game. Actually, and eventually Colorado won out. But when we came to consider where we're going to set this game, we thought, you know, we have a bigger world now. We have more power at our disposal. Why not throw a net over both of those areas? So we're in the south of France. We're in the Côte d'Azur. Then we go across the border into northern Italy. And as you say, incredible driving roads. Phenomenal scenery, one of the most beautiful parts of the world, and incredible diversity as well, you know, and the types of places you explore, not just rural locations, but the city of Nice as well.
And diversity in locations, diversity in weather as well, right? We're seeing the dynamic weather in action here. Talk us through this.
Before our very eyes, yeah, we're absolutely delighted to be bringing dynamic weather to Forza for the very first time. It's something that we've really wanted to do. It's something that the fans have been asking us to do for a long time. We're delighted to be delivering it in Horizon 2. And you know what? It's a system which really leverages Xbox One, the power that we've got. We've built it specifically for this console, so it's really sophisticated next-gen stuff. We actually simulate the entire atmosphere, the particles within it,
Like rainbows.
down to mathematically correctly modelled rainbows.
Will there be double rainbows in Forza Horizon 2?
Cannot reveal that at this time.
Okay, that's probably a deal breaker for me, so we should talk about that later. But what implications does it have for gameplay when you bring in the dynamic weather?
Right. So it's not just changing the visuals, which it does, from minute to minute as you're driving around. It's also changing up the driving experience as well, as you'd expect. So it's Forza, so all of our 200 plus cars handle the wet differently, all the tyre compounds handle the wet differently, and of course it's changing that racing experience, particularly if you're in cockpit cam. You have the rain beating on the windscreen, your windscreen wipers on full, spray being kicked up by the car in front. You're really getting a changing driving experience. It's very challenging and a lot of fun.
All right, very good. So how did we get on here then? Doesn't look
Second
too
place.
good. I mean, I know we've got customization and personalization in Horizon 2, but that's probably
I'm not
not
sure
the type
Lamborghini
we're
are
looking
going
for.
to be happy with that.
Anyway, let's get into what you talked about today in the briefing. The most social racing game ever. That's a bold claim, Ralph.
Right, yeah, absolutely. But you know what? As I said on stage, I think we have a feature set that bears that claim out. It's something we said right from the start of the project. Let's make, first of all, an experience which is truly next gen in an online sense. Because Horizon is a social experience. Festivals, car culture, they're all very social. We want people to enjoy the game with their friends. So really our entire social feature set is about allowing people to do that in a way they feel comfortable with and in any way they want, really. So you could be playing asynchronously with people who aren't even online. Drivatars are other people's representations of themselves in your world. But then when you want to jump online, as we saw in that video documentary we showed on stage, it is instant, it is seamless. And we're trying to just knock down that barrier between solo play and online play and allow you to get into the action as if you were switching channel on a television.
You mentioned Drivatars. I wanted to ask you about that. They felt like a real game changer in Forza 5. How are you bringing them to Horizon 2?
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I've told a lot of people about the day we switched on Drivatar technology in Horizon 2, and our races changed instantly, because it's a very sophisticated AI system. What's happened more gradually, but I think is even more profound over the months since, is as people have started playing our game, their Drivatars now populate my world. And it's not just the way they drive, it's where they drive, and it's their personalities expressed through their cars. The cars they've chosen, the way they've painted them, the way they've tuned them. So every morning when I switch on my console at work, my world is full of personality, and that for me is the special thing about Drivatar.
All right, so which car are we going to choose this time? We've got an Aston. Looks good. Let's take that. Let's talk about online road trip and free ride. You mentioned them, or they were mentioned in the video that was shown during the briefing. They both sound great. Tell us more about
That's right, yeah. And really our goal here is to give people options in the way they play online. So online road trip is a very directed tour of the world. Everybody in the session is taken to a destination. They'll compete in a championship there, and when that's finished, the winner is crowned and everyone votes on where to go on to next. In online free roam, we really want you to make your own fun. So we make everything that's available in the solo game available online. So you can do races, you can do playground games, you can do cooperative bucket list challenges. It's all there. You can even go and find collectibles, hunt for barn finds with your friends. However you want to play the game, we're enabling you to do it with your friends online.
So let's talk about those barn finds and the collectibles. I mean, that was one of the best things about Horizon, in my opinion, is just pootling around the world, knocking all those things off the list. They're back for Horizon 2, right?
They're back, and I think they're better than ever. So we've taken the opportunity to refresh those cars. So now more than half of them are cars you will never have seen before in the Forza franchise, which makes it extra special when you discover them. I guess the trade-off there is that with our truly open world, we have just so much more space to hide those barns in.
Right.
I think it's going to take you a little bit more time to find them, but it's really going to be worth it to find one of those unique, never before seen in Forza cars and restore it to pristine.
Okay, so let's talk about cars. We've got 200 in the game.
200 plus available
200 plus,
from
alright.
September 30th for everyone.
All right, so tell me, call out some of your highlights, your favorites. and some interesting stuff we're going to see.
So my favourites are the interesting ones. You know, I mean, it's great to have the Lamborghini Huracan as our cover car. I think people are going to be excited to play it. It's never been in a game before. We have some extreme off-roaders as well, as it befits our truly open world and the all-terrain nature of it. We have the Dodge Ram Runner. We have the Local Motors Rally Fighter. Really challenging off-road cars. But my favourites are the cult classics, the personality cars. We have a 1945 Willys Jeep. We have a 63 Volkswagen camper van. These are great fun cars to upgrade, maybe to engine swap, and then take out on the road.
And of course, you're getting all that amazing Forza detail we're used to. Can we switch back to in-car? As I know the hardcore Forza fans love this. Windscreen wipers occurred to me the other night. If you're chucking in dynamic weather, you have to think about windscreen wipers quite a lot, I bet, right?
They all move now, and that's one of the things that we have to do to make a car horizonified. We actually call it in the studio. There's a whole bunch of tasks that we have to do. We have to animate the windscreen wipers, and you will not struggle to believe that all of them are animated in exactly the correct way. But we also make the dash illuminate, again, as the real car will. We have to make it get wet, so inside and out. Our audio guys tell me that we have different sound effects for the windscreen wipers, whether you're inside the car or outside it.
Nice.
That's the detail we go to.
That's amazing. So let's talk about off-road as well. Again, one of the really important parts of Horizon 1. It's back, I guess, right?
It's back, and we're doing lots more of it. And the map is, I think, 3 times bigger in terms of the drivable space. And that's not necessarily roads. That's fields of crops. That's vineyards. That's forests and hills. And once you get into the game, once you really get into the flow of it, we're really teaching you to go off the beaten track, to find the best route to wherever you're going. Forza has done a great job of training people to follow the green line over the years. We're kind of disabusing you of that notion a little bit and encouraging you to find your own route. And it's just crazy fun to barrel over hills and through fields, going to your next destination.
And the thing we really have to drive home here is that we came first that time. Nice, getting warmed up.
He can stay.
So you're going to be able to do all of this in car clubs as well, right?
Right, yeah, so 2 great online features which aren't perhaps your traditional competitive online features. They're more about socializing, meeting people, making new friends, we hope. So clubs is one. We allow up to 1,000 people to join a club. So maybe you're part of an existing social network, you can just transplant that into the game. Maybe you want to build up a massive club that can compete on the global leaderboards. Again, you can do that. But if you want to have a club of 5, of 10, of 20 people, it's entirely up to you. Clubs are a really flexible tool to let you socialise and play the game how you want. And then online car meets, I think, are really awesome, inspired by real-life car meets. Yeah. You just rock up at one of these meets in your car, and you're automatically driving into an online session with real people that you can chat to, you can share tips, you can compare your cars, you can race, you can all drive off into the online game together.
Okay. We can't talk about Horizon without talking about music. It's such a powerful part of the first game. For me, that Porter Robinson track, whenever I hear that, it just instantly takes me back to Horizon 1. What's the plans for Horizon 2, and what can you tell us any tracks you've got in there?
Yeah, well, we're going to be talking about the specifics of the track list really soon, in the next couple of weeks, but I totally agree with you. For me, music is incredibly important to Horizon. The guy who curated the first soundtrack, Rob DeBank, he's back on board. He did such a phenomenal job the first time, we had to ask him back, and this time we've given him even more license to be creative, to identify new acts, new songs. We have twice as many radio stations this time, we have twice as much music, so there's just lots of diversity, some classic acts, some classic tracks, but also some really cutting edge stuff, which is really just making it to festival stages and radio playlists right now, and we'll continue to do so after launch. And I think you're going to find lots of tracks like that Porter Robinson one in the new game, which becomes synonymous with this one.
Magic. Ralph, when will we be able to play Forza Horizon 2?
It's available everywhere from September 30th. It's going to be October 2nd in Germany, October 3rd in UK.
Magic. Thank you very much, Ralph. Really appreciate it. If you're coming to Gamescom, you'll be able to play Forza Horizon 2 this week.
Thanks for joining us. My name is Ralph. I'm the creative director on Forza Horizon 2, and we are in Germany. We are at Gamescom in Cologne on the Xbox booth, and we are going to be showing you the demo that we normally only show to press behind closed doors, but today we are doing it live on Twitch for you guys, so I hope you enjoy it. There's a lot of really cool stuff that the team back at Playground in the UK have been working on really hard all summer long, some stuff you have never seen before. We're going to be showing you new locations, new times of day, new features. So why don't we just jump straight into it and start the demo. So everything you do in Horizon 2 counts. So as Andy lays waste to the city of Nice, let me talk to you a bit about drivatars, because you'll see drivatars driving around everywhere in the open world. The drivatars you'll be seeing in this demo are primarily the drivatars of people back at playground games. So as well as changing the racing experience, and for my money, drivatars in Forza 5 really changed the landscape. Just popped on there as the light, but you'll see also the lights coming on all over the city of Nice. So the 24-hour day-night cycle means that the game is always changing as you drive. You know, you can drive a road 10 different times and you'll get a different experience every time, because the passage of time and the time of day is always changing. And it's always changing as well because we're introducing dynamic weather to the Forza series for the very first time. Really excited to be bringing that to the Xbox One version of Horizon 2. So as you can see, we're combining really lovely visuals from the time of day, sunsets, the twinkling of all the street lights, the dynamic lights of your headlights, with the changing weather conditions as well. So the system we've created is really incredibly sophisticated. We actually model all the particles in the atmosphere which changes the way light comes from the sun or the moon down through the atmosphere. It changes the way the clouds form. And when rain starts, and that's going to happen in this next event that we're going to take part in, you get some really cool effects. The puddles are modelled realistically. You'll see water beading on the car. You'll see the windscreen wipers come on automatically. And this race we're going into is one we haven't shown before. We're changing from the Lamborghini Huracan, and Andy, our driver today, is going to be jumping into one of the other absolutely new to Forza Horizon 2 cars, the 2012 Local Motors Rally Fighter. So this race is in the extreme off-road bucket of Horizon 2. It just shows you the kind of experience I think you're going to be having in Forza Horizon 2 when it comes out later this year. Because one minute we'll be drifting a Lamborghini around the streets of the city of Nice. The next you're in a completely different class of car. This is one of the most durable extreme off-roaders in the game. And you're going to be racing away from the city, up a dirt path into the hills. And as you can see, it is pelting it down in Nice right now. You can see the windscreen wipers are on full. You can see the spray that's being picked up by the cars in front. Lots of really cool reflections on your windscreen of the other car. You can see the cars and lights reflecting on the puddles on the road as we really drive up this hill versus the other extreme off-road cars in this bucket. So in front you can see that's a blue Nemesis with a blue livery, and just to Andy's right, that's another absolutely new Forza car. That's the 2013 Dodge Ram Runner. Again, a massive off-roader. The suspension in these cars is some of the most challenging that we've ever incorporated into Forza. So as you can see in this race, not only is it pouring down, but also we started at night, but the time's progressing dynamically. So the sun's starting to come up, the sky is starting to lighten. You can see, I think, a bit of red in the sky and the clouds as the dawn starts to break. And as we come over this hill, you start to see some of the lovely vistas that we have in this part of the world. There's a bridge of mountains just behind us, the coast and the Côte d'Azur, and when you get over that you start to see lovely vistas right up into the rolling hills in front of us. And I really think that our team's done an amazing job pulling this part of the world together. It's one of my favourite areas of the world to go exploring in, do races in. And in terms of races, we have more than 700 races in the game for you to take part in. A real variety of races. So this is a hill climb, but there are endurance races, point-to-point races, street races. We have an all-new event in Horizon 2 called the Cross hundreds of collectibles for you to find. We're bringing back barn finds, which we love from the first game. This time more than half of the barn finds are completely new to Forza, cars you've never seen before. So there'll be a special thrill in discovering those particular cars. We have the bucket list, which has 30 different challenges hidden across the world. And we also have lots and lots of discoverables, lots of collectibles for you to find. So it really pays just to go off-road, to explore the world and see what you can find. So Andy hasn't lost that race all day, and that time was no different. So as you can see, we're back in the world where we finished the race. Andy's still in the Rally Fighter as it's lighter, now you get to see some of its really sleek lines. That 18-inch suspension travel on the rear of the car is some of the most sophisticated we've ever had in Forza. It absolutely eats up the hills and the undulations when you go off-road. So what I really want to talk to you now about is something that we're really excited about in Horizon 2. Right from the start of the project, we wanted to make this the most social game we could, because you know our influences are in the real world, our car culture, the festival culture, music culture. All these experiences in real life are, I guess, better enjoyed with friends. They are better experienced with people you know. And we believe Horizon 2 is no different. So we've really tried to create an incredibly long feature list to enable you to play the game with your friends in whatever way you see fit, in whatever way you feel comfortable. So Andy's actually driving to a car meet, which is one of these social features that I'm talking about, because I actually believe that Horizon 2 is a game in which you could make new friends, and a car meet is one such place in the game that you could do that. So Andy's driven into a car meet from the solo game. You'll find car meets all over the open world of Horizon 2. But he's actually driven into an online session. So all the cars in here, they belong to real people. This is a live online session, so he could talk to the people in this session on a voice chat using Kinect or using a headset. They can admire his car, he can admire theirs. It's a great place to come and see some of the incredibly creative UGC that the Forza community are really famous for creating. And what's great is that if he really liked this particular livery, or maybe he liked the look of the tuning setup the guy's running on this particular car, he can grab the livery or he can grab the upgrades with a button press. And this particular player would be compensated, would be rewarded for him so doing. So that's a really cool way of experiencing the UGC, which is a huge part of the Forza experience. But the great thing about car meets is that Andy can drive in online, in solo play, sorry. He can meet some people in this online session, and then they can all drive out together seamlessly into an online experience. And seamless is a word that we keep using about the online experience in Forza Horizon 2. I think it's really important. I actually believe a lot of people don't participate in the online experience in games, particularly in racing games, because of the barriers that we traditionally put up. We make it difficult to get into online, we make you wait, we make you sit in lobbies. We've taken the view in Horizon 2 that we don't want any of that to be the case. We want you to be able to switch between solo play and online play just as easily as changing channels on your television. And we're going to play a video now as part of the demonstration which demonstrates exactly that. So this was direct capture feed from the game back at Playground. We're following one of our designers' cars. John is driving around in solo play. He selects online road trip from the pause menu, and he's back driving his car. So as you can see, it's starting to rain in his game. There are other driver cars driving around, and the game is finding a suitable session for him, which it's done, and he selects. race events, there could be a team race, it could be a playground game, and at the end of those 4 events, a champion will be crowned, and then everyone in the session votes on where to go next, and the road trip moves on to that destination. So you're constantly moving on, you're constantly seeing new places within the world, and you're constantly having fun with the people in your session. Online free roam is actually completely different. There are no rules in online free roam. Basically, we make everything available in the game to you in your session in online free roam. So that's hundreds of events. You can configure the time of day, you can configure the weather conditions, you can configure the car class. It's entirely up to you what you do. You can go and collect collectibles with the other people in your session, you can find secrets, you can show someone where to find a barn find and they can collect it in exactly the same way they would in the solo game. Or you can do playground games, and that's exactly what we're going to do next in this video. So there are 2 different types of playground game in Horizon 2. They were both really, really popular in the original Horizon. Infected and King. Now in Infected, one of the players in the session starts as the infected player. He has to infect the other players by crashing into them. And your goal really is to survive for as long as possible. The last player to survive is the winner. But we're about to do a King game. So in King, 1 or 2 of the players, depending on the session size, start as King. And they need to stay as King for as long as possible. It's the job of everyone else in the session to try and hunt them down, crash into them and steal their crown. And you win by being King for longest at the end of the session. So we are going to start a game of King. This one is situated at the ruined Abbey. And this is a location that exists in real life. It's been recreated from a ruined abbey in Provence, but it's been designed by our designers to be perfect for this kind of game. So there's lots of ramps, there's lots of tunnels, lots of hiding places and jumps and smashables, which make this kind of game especially fun. As you can see, the king has just entered there. He's had his crown stolen by Super Mouse, who is ghosted for a couple of seconds and then takes off with it, and John is about to take it off him. No, he's not. He's missed him, but he's making chase, as are other players in the session. And the goal here is to try and take the crown off Super Mouse and then hold it for as long as possible in order to score better, in order to win the session. So as you can see, this arena is set up with lots of jumps, lots of ramps. They're really crazy fun, and there are a number of them that we've created specifically for these types of games right around the world. You'll also race or play at the docks in Nice. You will play in an airstrip in the north of France, in a chateau, in a warehouse district in Tuscany. All of them slightly different, but all of them really cool, fun, and set up well for this kind of game. So now Raphaelos Wow has the crown, and John's going to chase him down. John hasn't beaten King yet. He's not very good at this game, but he's going to try really hard to capture Raphaelos' crown right now. As the time is ticking down, there's only 30 seconds left in the game. You can hear John is tuned to one of our 7 radio stations in the game. This one is a classical music radio station. We've got more than double the number of radio stations in Horizon 2. There's lots of variety, but John clearly favouring the classical music to soundtrack this particular experience. I guess our goal with music is that we give you as much variety, as much diversity as we can. I think we've got a great soundtrack this time. More people tweet me about the soundtrack from the original Horizon than about anything else, and I think they're going to be doing the same for this game. We've got some great radio stations to listen to. So at the end of the game, everybody goes through the rewards sequence. Everybody gets credits, everybody gets XP, even the loser. And if you're in a club, you're going to earn more XP. It really pays to be in a club. So after the game, everyone starts again from the Abbey, and everyone moves off to the next destination. But that's pretty much where we leave the demonstration. Just to recap on the really cool things we've seen the skills system, which is on in solo play and it's on in online, and it means you're always earning XP, you're always leveling up. We've seen the variety of cars that there are in Horizon. So we've driven in a Lamborghini Huracan, we've driven in a rally fighter, we've been in a Bowler Nemesis, and we've done lots of things seamlessly and online. It was instant to get in, and there's so much to do. So hopefully when the game comes out on September 30th, that you'll be able to enjoy it.
So yeah, we're going to look at Forza Horizon 2 again. You've been demoing it all day, haven't you?
All
Behind
day,
the store
yeah.
sessions.
Which has been awesome, to be honest, right? It's a long day, but we've seen so many people here. Lots of people coming, really enthusiastic, coming off the back of E3, wanting to see more. The great thing, as everybody saw last night on Twitch, is we're showing all new content from the Xbox One version here at Gamescom this week. So we're getting a great reaction. Lots of people are loving the game, been very complimentary, which is lovely. Be a great boost for the team back home. We've been working so hard over the summer. So yeah, it's brilliant that I get to come out here and speak to so many people.
So what you've been showing all day was actually what you showed on the stream last night.
Absolutely, yeah. So you literally saw it here first on Twitch.
It's great, isn't it? So what kind of reactions were you getting today?
Oh, brilliant. Everyone's very positive. You know, I think obviously we announced the game just before E3, so people were coming into it not knowing what to expect, not knowing that much about the game. And obviously the team have been working so hard over the summer. I mean, you can see on the show floor, you can see in the BCD we showed last night, visual improvements, gameplay improvements, new features that we're announcing this week at Gamescom. And people have been really excited about it. I mean, journalists are always really friendly. I think we've got a lot of there's a fond remembrance of Horizon. A lot of people are very enthusiastic about that game, which is lovely, and it's great to hear. So they come in and they want to know more, and obviously we're telling them so much more that we're getting a great reaction. So particularly because our game is set in Southern Europe, French journalists, Italian journalists are absolutely loving the setting of the game. So they're delighted when some people, as one guy did today, said, I live just in that area, just near Nice, and it looks exactly like that.
Did you see his house?
I think we cut his house out.
That would be quite funny, wouldn't it? If you woke up one morning and there was a team from Playground Games outside your house taking
hundreds of photos of your house. Yeah.
Be quite off-putting. All right, so Andrew is taking us through some gameplay. Thanks, Andrew. Andrew was the driver the other day on our after show as well. So hopefully he's done a bit more practicing, because that first run through the other day was a bit rough.
It was pretty sloppy. Yeah.
You know, honestly, Ralph, every time I look at this, it just shocks me how amazing it looks. It's really, really phenomenal.
It's a really beautiful game. Again, testament to the hard work of the team back at Playground in the UK. They've been working really hard. But yeah, it's such a stunning location first and foremost, right? You know, we're in the south of Tuscany. It's just a beautiful part of the world. It was such a standout choice for us. But then, yeah, we've got such great next-gen visuals in the game as well. You know, beautiful lighting now. We've done lots of work on the visuals, on the foliage that you can see here, on the sea. Lots of the shaders in the game have really started to pop. So it's just, it's beautiful to explore. It's beautiful to drive around.
I'm guessing that photo mode will be included in the game, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, you're going to be able to get some unbelievable photos in this.
You do, and here's something that's really cool that we haven't actually talked about at all so far, but this seems like the perfect opportunity. I mean, we love photo mode. The community take incredible photos. They're an incredibly creative community, the Forza community. But we wanted to really look the photo mode experience more into the central game. So there's a point, a couple of hours into the game, where you've got comfortable, you're progressing well, when the head of the festival will actually offer you a job as the Horizon photographer, and he will actually pay you to take photos of all the cars that are at the Horizon Festival. So suddenly you're incentivized, I guess, to start using photo mode, taking beautiful photos of all the cars in the game and earning money as a result.
Did it surprise you with Horizon, the creative things that people were doing with photo mode?
It always does. I mean, I'm always amazed by the ingenuity and the creativity of gamers in general, right? And particularly within Forza, personalization, customization has always been such a big part of it. So we knew going into Horizon that people create the most incredible things with the livery editor. You know, they make the most incredible paint jobs. But yeah, it still surprises you exactly what they can do. This time I think we're ready for them, because we've got great tools within the game that really curate people's UGC content to other people. So as soon as you buy a car, we're going to be suggesting great liveries that are favourites with the community for you to stick on that car immediately.
Alright, great. Let's go back and talk about the location a bit again. I think, I love that story about the Italian who was almost moved to tears by this. I mean, that's quite high. Andrew, nice work. First place, just like that.
Pretty impressive. He's set a high bar, hasn't he?
But I think, have you found that there's a bit of a, people feel very connected to games that are set, in their hometown, in their country or whatever, right? There's
Absolutely.
a funny kind of real strong emotion around that.
Absolutely. So certainly, the response we've had from the French guys, from the Italian guys, they're absolutely really excited about it. Some guys from IGN Italia were just like really almost grateful that we set the game. I mean, thank you for your beautiful country, right? We've just we've photographed it, we put it into the game. But I think the thing about the location here is it also feels really different, really fresh. It's not they're not countries, it's not countryside. I've explored a lot in video games. I'm thinking maybe Assassin's Creed 2 is going back in time, literally. But it feels very different. So I think a lot of people, even if they're not necessarily from France or from Italy, are going to really enjoy exploring this part of the world because it's so well known, it's so beautiful, it's got such great driving roads.
Did you look at other parts of the world? Like, what kind of process did you go through?
Yeah, I mean, we looked all over. For the first game, we did a really intensive research process where we just looked everywhere in the world. The thing about the Horizon Festival is, I think the concept's really portable, right? You can see a Horizon Festival happening pretty much anywhere in the world, as long as it's beautiful, as long as it's got great roads. So really, the world is our oyster. For the first game, we went with Colorado. Awesome location. I really enjoyed driving around there. For this one, we went back to our
Why did you go with
notes.
Colorado in the first game?
So we actually had a scoring system. So I think there was about 30 locations all over the world. Some really obvious ones, some not so obvious ones. But we had this list of criteria as well. The beauty of the terrain, the driving roads, diversity, because it's really important in a game, that you're driving through different areas. There was a whole list of criteria, and basically we had a scoring system. So we went through everyone and we totted up the scores for each. And Colorado came out on top. It just scored really highly in a lot of categories. But interestingly, we revisited that scoring system for Horizon 2. And right below Colorado was the south of France and then the north of Italy. It might have been the other way around, but basically they were 2 and 3. And looking at it this time, knowing what we could do on Xbox One, we could build a bigger world, we've got more power. We said, these countries are actually adjacent, they're right next to each other. We could just draw a line around both of them and build them into the Xbox One game, and that's exactly what we did. Combined, their scores were through the roof, so it was the perfect choice.
Okay, so when you actually start building the world, I guess you're looking at Northern Italy, you're looking at the south of France, you have you could window a map of the world on that area, and then what's the next step, because you can't put everything in, right? But
Absolutely, and that box that you're describing was huge, hundreds and hundreds of square miles. So the next step is that we start looking at in detail at all the areas within that, so we start doing internet reference research right away, and we're picking out the places that we'd love to go, and that list is massive, right? That's
for a wee holiday, like.
Do you know, I've never got to go on one of these research trips.
Really?
They tell me that they are incredibly hard work, but I don't know. How hard can it be, really?
Surely.
I know. Next time. But yeah, so we have loads of places within this big box, within France and Italy, and then we narrow it down, and then we start sending people out, and they go in groups of 4, and they'll go for a week or 2 weeks at a time. I'm joking. It is a very arduous research trip. They drive thousands of miles, so they fly over, they rent a car. They mount an HD camera on the dash, so everywhere they drive we're getting that HD footage back, and that footage then runs on screens around our studio for the next year basically. So even the guys that don't go on the research trips feel like they've been on the research trips, right? They are immersed in the world we're creating. They stop everywhere, they take meticulous photography, then they bring it all back, and we literally spend weeks sifting through it, picking out, what might be a highlight in the game, a particular landmark, a particular road, and then we start collating all that reference material, and it starts to form its way into the world that we're building. First, very simply, in what we call white box. So there's no textures. It's just we're building the geometry of the world very simply, and then finally we start to refine it into what you see in game now.
Do you start with a list of kind of more, I guess, gameplay elements that you know you need to hit? So maybe you're going to want like a city grid for that kind of experience. You're going to want mountainous, winding terrain. You're going to want, hopefully, because in Forza Horizon, one of my favourite bits was the interstate, the highway.
Yes.
Just getting up to top speed on that and run. So have you got that kind of thing? You know, do you go with a list that you tick off?
We do. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Certainly for this one, I mean, we built a town in Colorado in the original Horizon. It wasn't huge.
Yeah.
We really wanted to do a city this time, and you know, we were kind of spoiled for choice in the area we'd selected. You know, down the French Riviera, the Côte d'Azur, there's numerous cities, all with, you know, their own selling points. And then again in northern Italy, there's some great cities. We eventually went for Nice. It's just such a cool city. It's such a variety of architecture. That boulevard along the seafront is really iconic. Some really iconic buildings on it. And I've been telling people today, I love it for its kind of PGR-ness. You know, I really get that PGR throwback sensation when I'm racing in Nice, when I'm driving around Nice. Some street racing and some circuits there. So we picked Nice, but you're right. Yeah, interstate autostrada, as we call it in France. I think it actually runs right through France and into Italy. Much longer than the one in Colorado, but yeah, I love that experience as well. When you can really start topping out your cars, you've got that weaving in it. Exactly. Brilliant, maybe on the wrong side of the carriageway, you know, into oncoming traffic.
And also up a multiplier as well with all those near misses.
Absolutely, and tunnels. I mean, the autostrada north of Nice just has the most epic tunnels going through those mountains. So we've got them in. Always a fantastic sensation of speed, and the sound obviously is the engines reverberating around the inside of the tunnel.
Yeah, let's come back to sound actually, because that's an interesting one to talk about. Go again, Andrew. Yeah. So what we're going to do is Andrew's going to run through again. Oh, we got some questions as well. Say that again. Oh yeah, Mark. Right, hold on. You're not Martin, you're Andrew. But I need to ask you to drive the Aston Martin. It's confusing, this, isn't it? I meant to say earlier we're going to take questions from you all watching. So, Ian, how do people submit questions? How do people submit questions? In the Twitch chat. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So questions in the Twitch chat. Let me finish my question first.
Yeah, it's more important, right? Yeah.
We were talking about, the photography, the HD video, everything you take as reference for building this world. Do you try and capture the culture of these places as well? I mean, is there part of it which is like, the feeling of it? Not to get too kind of touchy-feely about it.
I think that's a really interesting question.
Thanks.
It's part.
I hope these community questions are as good.
Don't worry, I won't patronise them in the same way. That's a really interesting question, Graham. It's part of the reason that we send actual team members, right? Because we could commission photographers to go over there and do all that donkey work and save us the hassle in a sense. But I think there really is a sense of sending people over to get a feel for the area. There's something you get that you can only get from being in a location. Particularly in the French Riviera, there's a quality to the light which is kind of legendary amongst painters. Our art director is always telling me about this. But you really have to be there. People have flocked to that area for hundreds of years to try and paint the light. It's a very specific quality to the light. So being there really helps, and the people come back having experienced the culture, having experienced the locations. Of course they've eaten there, they've stayed there, they've met the people as well. So they come back, and particularly when they then go and work in a very specific area, they become very attached to it
Right, okay.
as well. So yeah, there's real benefit in sending the people over, and they come back and they evangelize about their particular area to the rest of the team, who are seeing it on the screens and seeing the reference footage as well.
Good. All right, let's get to the better questions, I'm sure, from everyone on the Twitch chat. Okay, so Napster, first of all, he hopes that there are more barn finds in Forza Horizon 2 than there were in Forza Horizon 1. So first of all, there are barn finds in here, right?
First of all, there are barn finds in Forza Horizon 2. Second of all, there are more barn finds in Horizon 2 than there were in Horizon 1. What an excellent first question. Let me tell you a bit more about them, because there's actually a little bit more to that story about how they've evolved in Horizon 2. So, I mean, first of all, it was a really cool feature, and I say that because people really related to it, I guess. They got it, they really enjoyed the concept. So that's how we know it was a really cool feature. They tell us that. So we're delighted to bring it back in Horizon 2. I guess one of the feedback points we had from the barn finds in the original game was that they were all cars that they'd seen before in Forza, right? And I guess one argument there is, well, you've seen a lot of cars in Forza over the years. But we took that feedback, and I think we really reacted to it, we really responded to it. So more than half of the cars that you'll find in barns in Horizon 2 are cars you've never seen before in the Forza franchise ever. So I think that's really cool. I think that's going to be an extra frisson of excitement when you open that door and you see that car for the first time, and it's something you've never seen before, you've never driven before in Forza. So restoring that car and then getting it pristine out of the garage and driving it for the first time should be a really special moment. I hope it will be for people.
Yeah.
I guess the second thing is, in Horizon, we tried to hide the barns a little bit, as is well documented, I guess, because it was mainly roads in Colorado. There wasn't so much off-road terrain, so much countryside that you could drive in. They were always pretty much close to our roads, so you were driving along the road, you would find the barn find. Now, not deliberately, we haven't deliberately tried to make it harder for them to find this time, but just by virtue of the fact that our world is so open now, you can drive off the road, you can drive across fields, you can drive through forests. Our barn finds are now, just by that very nature of the world, more difficult to find. But I think that I like that trade-off, right? You know, we're giving people a car they've never had before in Forza. I like that they have to put in a little bit of effort. They're not going to stumble over it. They really have to go looking for it.
What were your inspirations for the barn finds and the signs and all of those things in Horizon, which really felt like it felt like you were drawing on collectibles and challenges from other game genres. You know, you don't often see them in racing games, I don't think.
I think so. So the barn finds are very specific. I mean, that's an idea that is inspired by real life. You know, you see these stories from time to time. It happens in America, which made it perfect for Colorado. It happens in Europe as well, actually. Some of our barn finds in Horizon 2 are actually inspired by real-life barn finds around Europe. And you hear about these cars which, for one reason or another, are left in a barn. And then the property changes hands, nobody knows the car's there, and one day someone opens the door and finds, a 1965 classic, which is now worth €2 million. And that's like happy days. We love that kind of story. We love the fact that we could give it a bit of a gameplay twist and give the player something really, really valuable to find as well.
Okay, fantastic. Napster, thank you for the question, mate. I've just spotted a really interesting one here that I'm going to run past you first before I ask it.
Yeah.
So, Jackson_AUT, Jackson out. I always sound like a right numpty when I try and write these things. I hope
I don't think they're meant to be pronounced, are they?
Jackson out asks, tell us about Anna.
That is a great question, actually, because some people have been asking that today, because we haven't actually spoken all that much about Anna, not for any reason other than we have so much to talk about and we only have limited time, but we've got time now. Anna is, let me remember if I can get this right, your automated natural navigation assistant. But you can call her Anna in the game.
I thought it was someone at the studio or something like that.
That'd be a weird question, wouldn't it?
Is Anna okay?
A bit intrusive.
You know Anna that works at the studio, is she alright?
She's fine. So she is basically, she's half GPS, half personal assistant.
Okay.
So in the last game we had, obviously we have a GPS, turn left, turn right, that sort of thing. And we had this cool feature using Kinect that you could voice control it. Which was awesome and solved kind of a problem with open world games in general, that whenever I need to set a route somewhere, I always have to pause the game, I always have to open the map, set the route. It takes me out of the game.
Yeah.
With the GPS voice in Horizon 1, we shortcutted through that. You could just say GPS Festival, set a route. It was pretty cool. We liked it. This is really the next gen version. This is GPS Voice 2.0, I guess.
Okay.
In that she still does all that stuff, but she's intelligent as well, and this is where the personal assistant bit comes in. She is there to help you. She remembers what you're doing in your game. She knows where you are. So at any point in the game I can say, Anna, what should I do? And Anna, knowing where you are, knowing what you're in the middle of or what you're close to, can say, well, you're in the middle of a championship, would you like me to take you to the next race?
Yeah.
And you say yes, she'll set a route to the next race, or she'll say, you're actually in the vicinity of a barn find. Would you like me to set a route to the area? And again, you say yes. You don't have to say it like that. And she'll set a route there. She does other things as well. So if your friends come online, she'll say, hey, a couple of your friends are in an online road trip.
Yeah.
Would you like me to take you into their game? And again, you say yes. And she will instantly match make you into their session. You know, you don't have to do anything. I don't even have to press a button.
Yeah.
Just by replying to her, she'll take me there. And when I leave the game, maybe I'm playing something else, and then I come back into the game, one of the feedback points we had from the original Horizon was I often forget what I was doing, right? You know, what was I in the middle of?
Yeah.
She'll know that you're coming back to the game after a period, and she'll say, hey, you've been away for a while, you were in the middle of doing this. And just reminds you where you are in the game so you can basically take up where you left off.
Great.
So
Anna sounds ace.
she's awesome, yeah.
Nice one. Okay, thanks, Jackson. Out. Right, let's see what else have we got. So Gattuso86 asks, apart from upgrading the cars, can we do some tuning like changing gear ratios?
You can absolutely do some tuning, like changing gear ratios, and much, much, much more. So, huge feedback point. There's a common theme here, isn't there? Feedback from Horizon. That I guess it shows we're listening. We really value the feedback group. What fans think about the game. Lots of people said, why can't we tune our cars like we can in Forza Motorsport?
Yeah.
And we said, that's a great point. Let's bring that back for Forza Horizon 2.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we've done. It's one of the benefits that we share an engine with the Forza Motorsport guys. We're always adding to it, which means we benefit from the features that they have. So we brought tuning back into Horizon 2, or into Horizon 2 for the very first time. You can do everything to your car that you can in Forza Motorsport. You can change your gear ratios, you can change your ride height, you can change other things about which I really have very little understanding. But it's incredibly sophisticated. You can do all the things you can do in Motorsport in Horizon 2.
Great. I was going to ask something, but I've forgotten it. So we'll go back to the community question. This is why it's great having community questions. I do this more often. Right. Is the damage visual or mechanical? Oh, and that's from Feedmeister, or T-Headmeister.
So the damage is visual by default, visual only. But again, this is new for Horizon 2, and again, it's because fans asked for it. We have included mechanical damage this time. It's not on by default, because if you drive anything like I do, your car will not be serviceable after a couple of minutes. But if you are of that inclination, you can turn on mechanical damage, and your car will suffer damage both in terms of performance, in terms of handling, based on the kind of damage you inflict upon it. We'll repair it for you. I think we repair it for you before races, just so that you're not crippled in a race. But otherwise, yeah, if that's your thing, you can do it in Horizon 2.
Magic. I remembered my question. You'll be relieved to know. It was about the Forza community, actually. You know, how did the Forza community react to Horizon? You know, obviously it's an established, I dropped the surface there, that would be bad. An established, long-standing community with a really strong tie to the guys at Turn 10. You know, and you know, you guys came along with a different spin on things. Did they welcome you to the family quickly, or?
I think they did, actually, to be honest. I was actually speaking to some guys about this today. You know, just thinking back to maybe this time 2 years ago, maybe a little bit earlier in the year when we were first starting to talk about Horizon. And I think everybody, fans, journalists, people within, Turn 10 even, were thinking, what is this thing? How does it relate to Forza Motorsport and what we know? But you know what? I think the fans, as soon as we did a good job explaining what it was, and honestly that took a little bit of time, but as soon as we explained exactly what Horizon was, I think they're incredibly open-minded. They are into Forza because they love the things that we do. They love great experiences in cars, and they could see that Horizon was going to offer them a different one, certainly, but still one that they could get on board with. And since then, I've always been blown away by the feedback we get on the motorsport forums, the suggestions we get, the praise, the criticism as well is always well taken back at Playground. I think they've been incredibly accepting of what is this expansion of what they understand Forza to be.
Great, good stuff. Swamp Thing 1 is asking about how many cars are in the game, and he is a particular fan of the Ariel Atom and the McLaren P1. Are they included?
So we are in the middle of announcing all of our cars. I think we're about 150 cars in. 150 cars in with the car announcements. About 150 cars in. We're
Can you list
announcing.
them all for us here now?
You want me to do it alphabetically?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah. Reverse alphabetical. Actually, you can do it while you're racing.
Am I going to race now?
Yeah. Well, should we?
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
But
this
is your challenge.
Sorry, the answer to that question was we're in the middle of announcing them all. There are more than 200 available on day one at launch for everybody. I think the car announcements are running up till launch. Yes, they are. And in answer to specific questions, I'm sure we've announced the McLaren P1. It's been in all our promotion, right? I don't know if we've announced the Ariel Atom, but I just did. So there we go.
Well, there you go. That's why we do this. How's your overcharged delirium XT? By the way,
delicious. Yeah,
okay,
it's all right.
Are you feeling a bit mutanty yet? Or
it's getting that way. I feel feeling like that all day. To be honest.
That's Gamescom for you, isn't it? Right. So I'm going to keep chucking questions at you while you race.
Sure thing.
I don't know what. So what we're going to do is Ralph is going to run. And we'll see what position he comes in.
Yeah.
It should be interesting. Actually.
Shall we?
Have you played this before?
A couple of times. Will we use the same car?
We probably should use
just
the
for
same
fairness.
Car. Yeah. And then I'm gonna have a shot and see if I can beat Ralph's position, because I do fancy myself as a bit of a Horizon expert actually.
Is that a fact?
I think I can take you. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've got this. And I'm going to keep chucking questions at you while you do it to try and distract you. Right, Raw Nuts, nice one, mate. Raw Nuts asks, are drivetrain swaps in? So going back to tuning.
Drivetrain swaps in? Yes, drivetrain swaps are in. So we go the Lambo?
Very good.
We'll take the Lambo?
Yeah, let's do the Lambo, why not? And Blue Venom 07 is asking about manual shifting. You got manual shifting in?
Of course. Andy has been using manual shifting all week in his BCDs. In fact, that live stream last night, all the driving Andy did was manual shifting, traction control off. He is hardcore.
You're not using manual shifting, are you?
Certainly I'm not.
Good.
I lack the ability.
Okay. Right, let's see. I think we've covered all these questions. That's awesome. So you're in car view?
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I actually use bonnet for racing and in car for cruising.
Let's see.
Oh dear.
Hey!
This is not going well.
Like that. Just a little joke for you there.
Oh right, yeah.
So when I was playing this at E3, my tactic here was then to switch out to the elevated cam.
Yes, it's not ideal for. They obviously didn't take smashing through vineyards into account when designing the Huracan. Oh, this is not going well.
So tell me more about the diversity of the map and the world you've got here. So we're seeing, going through vineyards, things like that. What else is unique to this part of the world?
Well, so we're about to hit the coast, and this is one of the things that I was most attracted to this area for, because we didn't have a coast, we didn't have the sea in the original Horizon.
Keep talking, Ralph.
I'm trying to. I cannot do both at once. So we've got a beautiful coastline, and what a coastline it is! What amazing driving roads there are here, and then obviously we go right along. We go into France and along to Nice. City is another. We've mentioned that already. It's really cool that we've got a city and a beautiful one and a big one as well. You know, so I mean, even the brief glimpse we gave you of it last night in the Twitch stream is not even half of the city as it exists in the game. And then, so France, I feel like we're not allowing rewind. I take it that would be
no rewind. No.
That would be cheating. France is beautiful. I had never heard of the town of Sisteron before in Provence, but it is very lovely. Has some amazing roads in it as well, some great racing to be had in Sisteron, and of course the legendary lavender fields, of which I am a big fan.
Nice one. Have you tweaked the NPC AI drivers to reflect the driving styles of southern France and northern Italy?
Sure.
In what way?
Come on.
Now, are you going to use was Andy using the shortcut? Do you use the shortcut here, Andy? No? Is it a shortcut?
It is a slight shortcut, but it is really treacherous. And I'm making such a pixie of this that,
Where are you? Fifth? I ran this just about an hour ago and came fifth.
right.
So I think I can go better. Fifth it is.
So do I get to ask you questions while you're going?
Yeah, you can ask me anything you want. Maybe the viewers on Twitch can ask me some questions.
Questions for AC Bongos, yes.
Well, let's not do that. Ian, you're moderating heavily, aren't you? Just, we were talking about the world earlier. Like, it's a very simplistic question. I'm almost sorry to ask it, but how much bigger is it than Horizon 1?
So it is, it's 3 times bigger in terms of the area that you have to drive in, the area you have to explore. So a lot of that comes from the fact that it's just so open. You know, you didn't have the fields, you didn't have the forest, the hills in the original Horizon, and yes, it's much bigger.
Okay, good. I'm just a couple of extra questions have just come through here. I think Rockane is asking a really good one. So Rockane's asking, is the weather scripted? So we haven't really talked about the weather, but you do see an amazing example of it in that demo. Is the weather scripted in specific places in the map, or is it completely random and dynamic?
Excellent question. So there are a couple of instances close to the start of the game where we actually script it. Just part of the gameplay flow involves seeing rain for the first time. Yeah. So we do have the ability to say, make it rain, obviously, as we do in the Gamescom demo as well. Make it rain. But beyond that, we just leave it up to. We have this system called a weather manager.
Okay.
So we fed climatic data into it. We actually have our different climatic zones around the world, which determine the way clouds can form, the way weather can transition, and such like. And yeah, we absolutely leave it up to the weather manager and the time of day, because what we've found is that rather than sort of trying to be prescriptive about it and saying, okay, now it should rain at this point, just letting it run, letting it do its thing, means that it creates much more diversity than we would otherwise.
Right. And what kind of extremes of weather do you have? It just occurred to me there. I mean, lightning. You got lightning?
We've got rainbows.
Okay. Lightning would be awesome, Ralph. Yeah, you were telling me yesterday about the light physics on the rainbow.
Yes.
What kind of work have you done on that? It just, like we talked about it the other day, that as you add these things, it must have such a knock-on effect to every other part of the game, right?
Yes.
You add weather,
absolutely.
It affects the gameplay, it affects the visuals, it affects the physics.
Absolutely.
You add rainbows, even that in itself mucks it around with other things, doesn't it?
It's sure. Sure, if
I'm
you
just
like.
trying to delay getting into this.
Yeah. No, so rainbows is a funny one because, I mean, as I said to you the other day, they are as absurd as it sounds, they are mathematically correct rainbows. You know, so it's and this took me a little while to grasp myself. That we don't just say, okay, put rainbow here and rainbow appears. They appear because the sun is at the right angle and sunlight is coming through the atmosphere at the right angle, and there is the correct amount of moisture in the atmosphere, and so they occur exactly as they do in real life. That's how a rainbow appears in real life.
But it's also magic.
Yes, it's also magic.
Mostly magic, but there's also a lot of other stuff goes on as well. It's going to be incredible for I know there's more community questions.
Do you want me to?
Laptop
I can just go through them. You're clearly very busy.
You go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so Simi is asking question. Online free roam traffic confirmed to me. Confirmed. There is traffic in online free roam and indeed in online road trip, which is our other main way of playing the game. And Martin Higgins 091271. Obviously, a lot of Martin Higgins before him. Will there be clubs? Yes, there will be clubs. In fact, yes, it's a big feature, part of the social aspects of the game that we're talking a lot about this week at Gamescom. Clubs are there for you to do with as you please. We see them just as a way for you to play with other people, to find people who like the things that you like to do, and you can create a club or you can join an existing club. You can search all the clubs in the game to find one that's right for you, and clubs can actually have up to 1,000 members. It is a massive number of people to have in a club. We really like the idea that you could create your own community within Horizon 2. You know, so that club could be massive, have up to 1,000 people. You could dominate the global leaderboards. Maybe if you're already part of an existing, I don't know, forum or a social network, you could bring those people into Horizon 2 with you. You can all still socialize within the game in exactly the same way. So it's really flexible. We're not really saying this is what clubs are for. You have to do this or you have to do that. Really, we're basically just setting up a system which allows you to do with the club as you please. Set it up for whatever you want, use it as you want. You have a club notice board which allows you to post messages to your club members. You have an internal club ranking system. You have obviously the club's ranking system in a global leaderboard. And they're just an awesome way that you can expand your contact base, I guess, within the game. So if you don't have friends who are playing the game, and if not, why not? You have your club, so you have up to 1,000 people that you can be compared to on speed traps that you can be playing with in online.
Keep talking, Ralph. Keep talking. I don't think I've ever been as excited in my life.
4. It's still quite a long way to go there, Graham.
No, not far.
7 Cayenne. Oh, hello. Says story cutscenes like last time, wristbands. So yes, the answer is yeah. I guess there are story cutscenes. There are certainly cutscenes. There are characters within the game. So different characters from last time. But you will meet Ben, who is the organizer of the Horizon Festival in Europe, and who is organising the road trip as well, which you go out on, which is the main sort of career mode in solo play. And wristbands are still, I can't believe it! I feel so alive! 4th!
Oh,
that's excellent, it's very well done.
Fantastic. Oh, that's alright. It's just a bit of surface damage. It's a flesh wound. I bet you Major Nelson can do that either.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do I win?
My enduring pride.
Oh, fantastic. I genuinely am not sure I've ever been as nervous about anything in my life. That was good. Sorry, I interrupted your question.
That's alright. I was just answering the second half of this, which is, are there wristbands? Yes, there are wristbands. They are still the kind of progression currency of the game, if you like. They're actually quite cool this time. They describe your level throughout the game. So we have a leveling system that sits across the entire game. So everything you do in solo play, everything you do online contributes to this level, which in turn contributes to your wristband color. And whenever your gamer tag is displayed within the game on your Drivatar and online leaderboards, what have you, your wristband color and your level will always be displayed along with it. So it's a point of pride. It's going to call you out for how well progressed, how sophisticated you are in the game.
Excellent. Shall we talk about music a little bit?
let's talk about music.
What time is it now? Oh God, I'm enjoying this. It's almost 45 minutes we've gone for, isn't it? God, I hope people are watching.
Is anyone watching?
Wow, great. Yeah, so music. We were talking the other day, weren't we? I actually think like music in driving games is massively, massively important. Like, maybe shouldn't talk about a particular driving game, but there was a game a good few years ago that used a very popular feeder song called Buck Rogers, and that is seared in my head. That song with a particular type of driving experience. And in Forza Horizon, I had the same thing with Porter Robinson. That song's language, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
That Porter Robinson song, whenever I hear it, it's just like it takes me right back into Forza, and I can almost feel it. Like, is that? Is that something were you inspired by that to bring music into Forza?
I have exactly the same response to Porter Robinson. It has that absolute sort of reaction in me as well. And yeah, I think at its root, that's exactly why we think music is so important. It's like totally linked with driving, right? I drive, I listen to music. Yeah, absolutely. I turn it up loud, and maybe I drive faster than I should as a result. I think that absolutely applies in video games as well. Even without the Horizon Festival sort of backdrop, even if we didn't have that, I'm sure we would still have music because they go together so well. I mean, with the Porter Robinson track, honestly, I don't think we ever expected that one would be. I mean, we put it on the press start screen, so it was very prominent in the game. But that was kind of a last-minute decision, and when we were developing Horizon, we had the press start screen. We tried a couple of tracks from the soundtrack. That one just really seemed to fit. And as you say, now it's kind of synonymous. I'm sure there are tracks in the Horizon 2 soundtrack which will become as synonymous with the Horizon 2 as that one is to the original. But
I'm pleased with the reception to the soundtrack in Horizon.
Oh, amazed! Absolutely blown away, because music's very subjective, right? I mean, you cannot please everybody. But it seems like we please quite a lot of people, which is with music is sometimes all you can do. Obviously, that's all credit to Rob the Bank rather than anyone else. He does such a great job of that. It's his business to curate music, to be a music supervisor.
Does he come into the studio and talk to you about the game? Does he?
Yeah, he does. It's great. So he'll come in and we'll basically spend a day every couple of months just talking about where the game is. So obviously we show him the game. On the first game, that was massively important because we were building the Horizon Festival for the first time, and obviously, as well as being a music supervisor, he organises Festival and Camp Festival in the UK. So it was kind of cool to get his thoughts on festival design as well. He sent us lots of reference for festival tents and stages and stuff like that. But yeah, he'll come in and talk about music. He'll play his stuff that he's hearing, and he hears things months and months in advance, which is why. So this song is playing at the moment. It's called "Pushing On." I think it's just actually it's come out this week or it's coming out next week. But obviously this has been in the game for months and months and months because he hears them all in advance, in advance because of his position.
Fantastic. So actually Matt6661 asked a specific question about music, which is what got me onto it. So Matt asks, what styles of music genre do you have in the game? So tell us about that, and then the number of you've upped the number of radio stations in the game now as well, yeah?
We now have 7 radio stations, 3 in the original game, 7 radio stations now, more than double the amount of music, which is awesome. Because it means, obviously, there's more to listen to. That means there's more variety. It also means, you can spend longer listening to the game before it starts to get repetitive. I think that was really important that we wanted to achieve this time. So 2 of the radio stations from last time are making a reappearance. So Horizon Pulse is back, and Horizon Bass Arena, which we're listening to here. So Horizon Pulse is summery disco pop is probably how I would describe it. It doesn't actually sound very good when I say that, but it's a cool station. I love it. A Bass Arena is your dance and electronic music. So last time was a little bit dubsteppy just because 2012. But now it's interesting. It's probably of all the stations, it's the one that's moved on the most. Just that style of music, electronic music, moves so fast that now the landscape is totally different. It's much more sort of deep house, smooth house, Disclosure. We've got Disclosure remix in there. no dubstep, no dubstep, no Skrillex this time.
Is that a policy?
It's not a policy, it's just how it's happened. It's happened. If a great dubstep track had come along, then I'm sure we'd have put it in. But,
Had you, when I was racing, I was concentrating so much I wasn't listening properly, but had you answered West_408's question?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't. Festival events with enclosed circuits, races without the off-roading. Yeah. I'll take the second question first actually, because this is interesting. I hear this a lot. I think by virtue of the way that we showed the game at E3, obviously, and the demo we have here, as you've been seeing, we're taking a Lamborghini across a field, and there are some people who are saying you should not take a Lamborghini across a field, and who knows, they may be right. But obviously this is a demo very specifically set up for a show like this. I guess the thing I'd say is we never force you to take a supercar and drive it through a field. You know, so when you choose a car and enter a championship with it, you end up, the game gives you appropriate events, appropriate races for that car. You know, so there are lots of events that will take you across country, take you off-road, but you will enter them by virtue of having selected an extreme off-road truck or a classic rally car or something like that. A Lamborghini, if you select the Lamborghini or a Ferrari or whatever, you're much more likely to get on-road, on-track circuits, point-to-point street races, things like that. Cool. And yeah, the festival events are much less enclosed than last time, because our world is so much less enclosed as well. You know, so now we use a checkpoint system. You can see it in the demo that we're showing. So you're racing through checkpoints, which means that you can cut a bit of corners. That's fine. You can adapt your racing line. That's fine as well. But you certainly won't be bouncing off the barriers because you can use the whole of the track. You can use the off-field as well.
Right, magic. Well, Ralph, I could honestly talk all night about this. But you know what, we're doing a community party on the booth here in about 10 minutes, and I should probably go and make sure that everything's fine for that. So, you know what, thanks for watching everyone, I hope you've enjoyed it.